Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Toon review for tonight's show. Something a little bit different tonight. Obviously, we're comparing two players that we are heavily linked with in the transfer window. That being Dominik Szoboszlai and, of course, James Maddison at Leicester. What position they would play for Newcastle United is also open to debate. We're looking particularly, I think, Alex, at Longstaff's position, aren't we? So it's possible that, we could be looking at these two to fill that position long term.
Yeah, I mean, the left side or the left eight, however we want to frame this, it depends on if we have any formation changes. But that seems to be Willock and Joe Linton's side. They're both better on the left. I know Willock had one good appearance on the right-hand side, but it is just one good appearance. So that left side is pretty much shored up, especially when you consider that Anderson also favours the left side. That's three people. So it's just sort of Longstaff in that solitary position on the right that nobody has really excelled at covering whenever they've needed to cover Longstaff. So you would imagine that, we're looking to bring somebody in to challenge him for that position and maybe bring something different to the team.
It's not to say, Billy, that we're targeting Longstaff by any stretch of the imagination. We know what he's brought to the team this season. He's been fantastic, but it's not to say that, that there is better players out there. We know that. But Longstaff's still going to be around. It's just, if we're going to go for players like Szoboszlai, like for Maddison, you would expect that it is players like Longstaff who, are going to be squad members next year without being too harsh.
Yeah, I mean, it's having squad depth, isn't it? We've got that many more games to play next season because of the European adventure we're going to go on. And it's not just midfield that these, the what sort of the eight that these two can play. They can play in different positions. They can play as wide forwards as well. So, it's about keeping the squad as fit and working as best as it can with what we've got available to us. And we're improving this quality of the squad and the depth of it. So, yeah, we're still going to see an awful lot of Sean Longstaff, and Sean Longstaff's still got a lot to offer this club. And I think as the season goes on, he might be, if he improves at the rate he has done the past couple of years, I think Sean Longstaff might have eyes on international recognition. I think he's been unlucky so far not to get it, to be perfectly frank.
Yeah. I think we've talked many times, Alex, that going into Champions League, we've got a lot more games on next season. So we're going to need that depth in the squad. And, if we've got a player like Sean Longstaff, like Billy says, if he keeps improving, then, to bring him in is not going to be a sort of downgrade in quality, really, because we know what Sean will bring. And I'm sure Eddie's got plans for Sean where there'll be certain games where he needs Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, it could be a combination of the two. He'll be sufficient against lower standard opposition. Although I think that's maybe a bit disrespectful to him because he's been brilliant, regardless of who we've played against this year. However, there might be certain games against weaker opposition, like where we need a bit more technical ability to try and break an opponent down, because he's not really shown that. Apart from that one Southampton game where it did click for him, he's not really shown it in other games too much. He's had a few assists this season. So, yeah, I think he'll still get, even if we bring in a superstar in that role, he'll still have Carabao Cup games, FA Cup games, a handful of Premier League games, and a handful of European appearances. So he's still going to get a good look in and be a rotational player. Injuries occurs. It's a long season, especially with our style of play. So it's healthy. Look at the options we've got in the wide areas. All the lads are getting chances. Miggy's played, Murphy's played, Maxie's played. Gordon's getting minutes. Isak's playing on the left. They've all had game time, and that's without European football.
Yeah, so. I was going to speak to you about Gordon because obviously I watched you last night talking about Jack brought up Anthony's interview at the end of the game against Chelsea, and I don't know about you guys, but I was quite inspired by it. I thought it was very, very brave of him to come out and say that he wasn't fit. He got a surprise just how fit Newcastle's squad was when he got here. Then he got the injury, of course, and then it's having to, get back to the fitness of the rest of the squad, which you don't have a lot of time to do since he's been here. So I think, Billy, when we look at Gordon for next season, I think he is definitely going to be an option. The way he spoke about, really getting on it during the summer and coming back fitter and stronger. I mean, that was great for him to say, because I thought he had a good game against Chelsea.
Well, he certainly scored anyway. He's more apparent than he has been in other games he's played. And I think with the pre-season behind him, he'll come back on a level playing field. I think it's right what he says about coming from different clubs to Eddie Howe's fitness regime. You only got to look at the results we got last season. We're able to outrun our opposition 99.9% of the time. So for him to come in from Everton, who down the bottom of the table, obviously not as fitness inspired as what we've been, it's going to be a different kind of scenario for him. And yeah, I think next season we'll see the best of Gordon. I think he's got not just about the fitness ratio. I think under Eddie Howe's tutelage, I think you might see him improve technically as well, because a lot of other players have. He's going to be an interesting player next year for us. I also to be an asset for us, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about what we'll see from Anthony Gordon next season, and certainly see what he's like when he comes back for pre-season, because I think he's playing with the England under-21s for a while, and then he says he's going away to work on himself, which is really good. So with regards to these two midfielders that we're talking about tonight, Alex, I mean, they each have their own attributes, which I'm pretty sure you've got graphics for these, and we're going to go through them shortly. Now, when I did the video earlier on today, I briefly touched on it and said that we were doing a big show tonight on it. A lot of the comments that have come in on that video have been all in favour of Szoboszlai. Now, I don't know why that is, because not many of us have seen him play, if we're openly honest, and people going against Maddison. But I think people are going against Maddison because of what's happened to Leicester City, and are forgetting just what a talent he is. Because I still believe that Maddison in a good team is a quality footballer.
Yeah, I mean, he's played in a relegation. Well, I was going to say a relegation fodder. They have been officially relegated now, so they're gone. He's been part of a relegated team this season, and he's on 19 goal contributions again this year. So he's put up, exceptional numbers. He did this last year as well. I think he put up around 20 goal contributions. So this is 2 seasons on the trot. I think it's maybe people taking the performance against us a little bit too literally. You've got to remember that was how the team was instructed. Leicester were told to play that way by Dean Smith. Maddison only got one half, and we didn't give him a sniff. And I don't think it was his fault. I think most of what happened that Leicester did that was even remotely positive generally came from him anyway. I think people are basing their opinions on 2 or 3 performances. I'll say the same as I said last night about people making their minds up on Botman from that one Chelsea appearance when he was at Lille, things like this. You can't base your opinions on a football player's ability on 1 or 2 performances. That's not how it works. Not at all. And Maddison's been putting up 20-ish goal contributions 2 seasons on the trot. He's a set-piece taker. Is athletic enough to play in midfield and out wide. And would presumably improve his work rate and ability in our side as well. So you can't just discount him because Szoboszlai's good. And I know, I don't want to be mean, but I know most of you haven't seen Szoboszlai play. So some of you may have done, fair enough. But you can't just discount a player, especially when you factor in how much people tend to improve when they hit our squad. Isak's definitely hit another gear since coming from Sociedad, and Bruno's definitely hit another gear. They've all hit another gear physically, technically, mentally. Why wouldn't Maddison be able to come and be a better player than he is now? Imagine that we have a player drop into Sean Longstaff's position that gives us 20 goal contributions.
Well,
where will we be in the table then?
Pretty nicely positioned, I would imagine. I've just got a couple of, one new membership, Night of Knee Gaming. I think that's a renewal, but welcome back anyway. And a £5 super chat from Ian Fleming to say, just want to say thank you, TTR family and mods, for all the great content this past season. and all the great banter, guys. Well done. Thank you very much, Ian, and thanks for your continued contributions to the channel. They have really, really helped. Chippers says, good to see you back, Paul. Thanks, mate. I'm getting there slowly. Another new member, Jackson Kearney or Carney. Thank you very much, Jackson. And welcome to Members Club. Stephen says, Szoboszlai all day long, ready-made, very athletic. I think Maddison would have to get up to speed like Gordon. Possibly. Tom Dixon, good evening. DC says, unfortunately, I think Howe will pick the English player if it comes to a choice. But I think Dominik would be an amazing player to bring in. Aaron Robson says, I hope they don't fan you about waiting until other teams are interested. Just go and get Szoboszlai. I think they've got to make an early move, Billy, because I said it on the video today. I think it's going to be a case where if we've got targets, we're going to have to go for them quickly because there is other teams going to be sniffing around because of the quality of the players now.
Yeah, definitely with these two that we're talking about tonight. I mean, I think Szoboszlai is one of the stars of Europe, the starlets, if you like. He's only 22, isn't he? But he's already captain of his international his team. He's Hungarian. And that's a massive job. I mean, Hungary historically, of course, have been in the 50s and 60s. We were a great side. They were the first side to come over here and from continental Europe and spank England back in 1953 and spanking 6-3 at Wembley and then beat England 7-1 the year after. So there's a history there. And this lad is the best player that Hungary have had since them days, since the days of Ferenc Puskás, since the days of Sandor Hidegkuti and Guy Logrosic, the goalkeeper. Since Tibor Nielossi in the 70s, 80s. He's a massive star in Hungary. And there's a reason for that. He's a really, 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 really good player. Lots of skill, athletic, flair, anything you want from an attacking midfielder. This lad's got in abundance, and he's got more to come. So, yeah, I think all teams in Europe will look at him. If there's a hint of him being available to be signed, you know, you can have a lot of big clubs after him, not just us. But it looks like with the links and what have you, journalists have posted about us and Szoboszlai that we're kind of in the box seat, which I'm hoping is true.
Well, Sky Germany certainly think that, don't they? They've been very positive about the move. Frau says, hats off to Dan Burn, whose shoulder dislocates every time he plays. I heard that. Is that true?
I mean, it's very heavily taped up.
I don't think he's actually come out and said it, though, has he? I'd be interesting to I mean, if it does, bloody hell. I mean, that shit is painful. But God, Bennett. Anyway, Alex, we've got this. Now, I'm going to let Alex take it away. I'm going to try and find some new headphones because I've only got noise in one ear, which is giving me earache. So if you take it away, Alex, I'll be back in a jiffy.
Yeah, no worries. So I thought it was probably appropriate to have a look at the lad that we're talking about. Not necessarily replacing, but bringing competition for. I think it's only fair to have a look at him. Obviously, we had a look at him at a similar point last season. At the end of the season, he got his contract extended, and there was a lot of controversy about whether that should have happened. You know, a lot of people will remember that, and I think we can all agree it was probably the right decision at the time. You know, he's 24 then, he's 25 now. He was a good age. He got good work ethic, you know, a reasonable amount of technical ability, homegrown. It was worth a punt on extending his contract and seeing if we could polish, you know, and improve him. And I think we've done that. And he's contributed very well this season, 2,500 minutes, which is not as many as I thought, actually. But managed the 1 goal and 4 assists. A little bit shy in front of goal there. Should have had close to 4 goals, and he's only got the 1. But we know he's missed a few sitters, and he's not quite as technically good as he should be. Although Willock, despite his technical ability, has also missed an equal amount. So what more are we going to get out of Sean? Well, he's physically decent, 25 years old, sort of coming into a peak age here. Let's go down and have a look at him statistically. So in terms of where he's spiking, it is mostly in terms of his attacking threat. Is positionally, and we see this a lot whenever we do commentary, watch-alongs, whenever we do post-match reviews. We always talk about how it's always Sean Longstaff tends to be the guy on the end of chances. Whenever we have a nice little move of sort of Bruno, Miggy, and little dinks and flicks, it's always Sean that ends up on the end of these things, and he can't quite you know, he can't quite finish it off.
Yeah.
Or pass it back across goal, or whatever he's meant to be doing with it, he'll fall over or slip, or something will happen. And it's not his fault. He's trying his best, obviously, but we're you can see on this graphic, touches in the attacking penalty area. He's in the top 9% in Europe, so he's touching the ball a lot in the box, a lot more than most players are for any team. He's receiving the ball very high up the pitch as well, but he's not doing as much with that as maybe we'd like. Shot volume is okay for his position. He's getting 1.18 shots per 90. His XG, his non-penalty XG is really high for his position as well, in the 79th percentile. The assist is quite tidy as well with his 4 assists. We could just do with a little bit more quality from him. If he could maybe carry the ball just a smidge better and pass the ball a smidge better.
Yeah.
This is what we've talked about in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. If we could turn Sean Longstaff up a gear technically, he'd be a great player. Instead of just a good player, he'd be a great player. So, he's still contracted. We love him. Hopefully, he can hit that next gear. In terms of his statistical similarities, it's improved on this list. He's got Franck Kessié on here, for God's sake, and Doucouré is not a bad player for Everton. Kamada we've been linked with before. You've got Gavi at Barcelona as well. So he's got some flattering comparisons here compared to what his statistics looked like sort of 18 months ago. Obviously, we're missing the pressures on here, which flattered him heavily. He was in the top 4% in Europe for his pressures. Of course, when Opta took over FBref, we lost our pressure statistics, unfortunately. But profiling really, really well, and will be an extremely useful player going forward for the future, especially because he's homegrown, trained at club. However, well, I'll tell you what, before we move on, I'll let you guys have your 2 cents on Sean Longstaff and what you think.
Look, I know I was very harsh on Sean at the start of the season. I must admit, I didn't think he was going to be good enough. I'll be openly honest. He wasn't good enough. He looked a bit lumpy. He looked like he was unfit. But that was probably last season, back end of last season. Didn't really think that this season was going to come to fruition for him. But when you saw him in, I think, Billy, I remember you making a comment very early in the season. I think he came on as substitute and you didn't realize it was him because he looked like he bulked up a little bit. And I agree. I think he's done a lot of work off the pitch to get to a kind of physicality that he needed to get to. But he's also worked so much on his fitness that Eddie Howe's seen him as one of the first names on the team sheet if he's fit. Because it's not just the work he does on the ball, it's off it. He frees up Bruno a lot of the time, and we've seen that when he's been missing from the lineup, how much Bruno is taken out of the game when Sean's not there. So, you know what? His stats don't look world class or anything like that, but by God, when you see him on the pitch, I think there's no way he's going anywhere. He's going to be part of Eddie's squad next season, and hopefully, like we said a few weeks ago, the quality of player that we're expected to bring in next season, he's going to be working with them as well. That can only, for me, bring him on. Billy? Yeah,
I imagine if there was a yards covered statistic on that kind of chart, then he'd be in the top 1% in Europe because he runs for miles and miles and miles and miles, week in, week out, covers up every blade of grass, does a good job defensively as well as getting in good offensive positions. But with the players we've got linked, especially one of them, I think they offer a little bit more than just that. I mean, Sean does get into great offensive positions. Like Alex says, he's a bit of a jigsaw, goes to pieces in the box when he gets there, when the ball gets near him. So hasn't really got the confidence. And many a times we've seen him in the 6-yard box and trying to pass the ball off. I don't think he's confident in front of goal. The Southampton game aside in the semi-final. But God, when he wasn't playing last year, we missed him because of the 11,000, 12,000 yards a game that he covers or meters a game that he covers, and no one else was doing that. So he was the glue that held the midfield together at times. Honestly, he'll still have a massive role to play next season, irrespective of who comes in. And we've got no doubt about that.
Yeah. So I think, Alex, it's quite positive on Sean, to be honest. But as I say, when you've got, who's just come up on the screen, you've got one of Szoboszlai or Maddison coming in. It changes the scope just a little bit.
Yeah, of course. Right. Well, let's rip the band-aid off, shall we? Let's go straight in for James Maddison and have a little look. So, Cov boy as well, Billy, as you know. Few people saying they're interested to see his stats. They're happy to swerve him. Blah blah blah. 10 goals, 9 assists this season. That's
And a relegated side.
I mean, a relegated side. This is what I mean. People don't really, people haven't really seen that. You know what I mean?
And he deserves it as well. He's got around 9 xG, so he's had one more goal than he should have done by xG standards. But you've got to remember he's got a bit more technical quality. So people with a high skill ceiling and a high level of technical ability will typically, break the xG model because they hit that things go in that shouldn't really go in generally.
Mm-hmm.
And his assists, he's bang on 9.3 expected assists. He's on 9. So you can say all you want about his physicality or is this or is that. This is a lad who's hit 20 goal contributions 2 seasons on the trot, or 19 this season if you're going to be pedantic. We don't have that output from our midfield. We just don't. Like, Joe Linton has improved his output phenomenally and well done. However, he has been deployed for large parts of the season as a forward, as a wide forward, not just a midfielder. So you've got to factor that in, that he's always been the guy that's been licensed to sort of, make that, they've been sort of tracking Callum Wilson and he'll just run beyond because he's been on the left wing. So I feel like you can't use that as much as a stick to beat the midfield with. And then the others, you've got Willock, who's come on leaps and bounds. But again, the rest of the midfield are getting nowhere near this output, not even remotely close to this level of output that Maddison's been doing for a couple of seasons minimum.
Yeah.
The wages are not prohibitive. The wages are in and around what we pay our top earners. So as long as he doesn't sort of turn around and go, I want 250 grand a week, as long as he's realistic about his wages, that'll be fine for us. And obviously, if he does charge exorbitant wages, we'll just go elsewhere. There are other options at the moment in midfield. It's not a problem. Age profile wise, he's just under a year older than Sean Longstaff, so he's not old. He profiles well. Age wise, there's a theme in our midfield of that sort of age bracket. Additionally, extra set piece taker. It'll mean we can have a bit more variety.
100%.
Although Trippier's been much better in recent weeks with his set pieces, has been rather good actually. It would just be nice to have that option to swap, especially because it means the opposition are going to be guessing because they don't know how our set pieces are going to sort of be taken, whether it's a free kick or short corner routines. It just gives us an extra string to our bow. So having an additional set piece taker would be amazing. Of course, contract. He'll have 1 year left. We don't really know if there's anything relegation-wise in there. Go away. Sorry, my dog is being annoying. So let's scroll down and have a little look at the important stuff, shall we? So let's get it to here. Right. So this one thing that we can look at that's completely different to Sean is progressive passes, sort of in the middle there of this graphic. Progressive passes, 5.48 per 90. In the top 14% in Europe, so in the 86th percentile. Sean doesn't offer that. He doesn't offer that sort of that line of passing. If we've got somebody who can distribute the ball like that to our forwards, who's going to be Miggy, Gordon, Maxi, Isak, Wilson. If we've got, I mean, what's Sean's, just out of curiosity? So Sean's is, 4. So we're getting an extra progressive pass. 1 and a bit extra progressive passes per 90. So that is an additional progressive pass that the forward, that could be an additional chance every single game of football, which I know it doesn't seem like a lot on paper, but it is a massive amount. It adds up. That's why there's such a disparity in the percentiles, because it gives you an extra chance every single time you play a match of football, which makes a difference. Yeah. Passes attempted is a lot higher as well. Pass completion rate is quite low. I think you've probably got to factor in, that he's in a side that are generally trying to play balls over the top. He's always the one licensed with the final ball, the killer ball. His completion rate is going to be considerably lower, I would imagine. Possibly some of that is his fault, and some of it is also not his fault. Successful take-ons is nice and high. He's in the 60th percentile, so we'll beat his man close to 2 times per game. whereas Sean has got 0.29. So he just doesn't beat his game. He beats his man every third match, whereas Maddison's doing it, not far away from twice per match. So again, that is a completely different statistic. It's enormously bigger and makes such a big difference. And then if we look at the offensive statistics, his shot creating actions. So if you want to read exactly what this is for people, so the 2 offensive actions directly leading to a shot. This is why Max's is so high, because it's creating that initial sort of phase that then other people go and get the credit for. So a pass, take-ons, drawing fouls. So a single player can receive credit for multiple actions, and the shot taker can also receive credit. So in the 88th percentile, so he's creating 5 shot-creating actions for his teammates per game is enormous. His shot volume is really, really high and healthy as well at 3 shots per 90 with somebody of his quality. When you compare that to Sean's 1, so he's getting triple the amount of shots per game, and they are probably, I would imagine, much better quality shots on top of that. So it really is improving the overall technical ability of that midfield and in the offensive capabilities. And when you look down here as well at his tackling, his tackling's fine. 1.85 per 90 in the 83rd percentile, which is considerably higher than, well, I say considerably.
Well, I think but given where Maddison plays for Leicester, Alex, I think that's quite good.
That's very, very good, yeah. Because I think it's fair to say Maddison is a lot more of an attacking midfielder than Sean is. Sean can do that and does do that, but he will tend to rotate into Bruno's role and then be an attacker, and he'll do a little bit more of everything. Whereas Maddison, I don't think Maddison would be licensed to. I don't think he would be trusted to go back into the Bruno role. I think they're quite different in that regard. Maddison's multi-skill position is being a winger. Longstaff's not a winger.
No.
Yeah. So. Okay, comparisons. We've got some interesting names on here that
Well, I'd say the bloody good names as well. Let's be honest here. I mean, although we hate Bruno Fernandes, he is up with the top-rated midfielders, and you look at the names there and you think, come on.
He is indeed. So just for the sake of variety, let's change these to midfield. Let's be critical. And all this does is makes it better. So his carries as a midfielder, his take-ons, touches offensively, and all of his attacking output is pretty much in the top 1%, if not the top 10% in Europe.
Wow.
He is a freak. And there is no doubt that in a better team, his passing statistics would improve. And
100%.
with extra fitness, I think this defensive output would also go up. And then when you look at who he's profiling like as a midfielder, you've got Odegaard and De Bruyne, who are probably the 2 best midfielders in the league this season. You've got Eze as well, who we know is a dribbly boy. You've got Zielinski, who's just won the title with Napoli as an offensive midfielder. Gavi Vega, who we've been linked with.
Alex, it really freaks me out when you call them a dirty dribbler or something
dribbly
like
boy.
that. A dribbly boy. Yeah, it doesn't sound right, man.
So, I mean, you can criticize Maddison. For people who have done the eye test, yes, he's looked slightly more lethargic, I would say, in the last 6 to 8 weeks. I think he just got fed up, Alex. Why.
I think he's got fed up because, you look at, take Tielemans, for example, right, who is apparently one of the great midfielders in Europe, right? He down tools for Leicester. You look around and you think there's a lot of players down tools for Leicester. You look at what Maddison has done for Leicester this season with goals and assists, and you think, why am I busting my arse, risking getting injured, etc., playing for next season? Nobody's trying to help this football club. Everyone's down tools. They're sitting on the beach. Why should I bother risk getting injured and miss out on a move in the summer because I'm sitting in a plaster cast or something?
I mean, I don't even think that. I think he gave it a good go when he came to St. James's Park. I think the only threat they had at scoring came from Maddison, really. He was the only person that, little 1-2s were from him. I don't think he's down tools. I think he's just not looked as good in recent weeks. And I
don't think he's down tools. I just think he got fed up, Alex. He was really frustrated. You could tell in his face.
Oh yeah,
and some of the interviews he did after the games as well.
If we're giving Gordon a chance, Gordon was a little rat when he was at Everton. The majority of the fan base hated.
Oh, Gordon. we loved Gordon, Alex. We never called him anything. We were always very. Billy, I recall me and you being very complimentary of Anthony Gordon before he signed for Newcastle.
I did say when we were linked with him that I would like to see us sign him. I think I was one of the few that did.
Actually, you did. I'll give you credit for that. Yes, but you did also call him a rat.
He was a rat when he played. Yeah, he was, especially at St James last season. Yeah, without a doubt.
So if we're going to give Anthony Gordon a chance, then surely Maddison is considerably less annoying attitude-wise than, he's friends with the lads already. He knows Callum Wilson. He's calling them all by their nicknames in the England camp. It's no secret that Eddie Howe does prefer somebody Premier League proven / English because he knows what he's going to get. It's more predictable to a point. So, look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say prefer. I like Szoboszlai. I think he's outstanding. However, people saying that we should swerve Maddison and he's not a good pick, I think that is unfair and ludicrous. I think Maddison is more than good enough. I think he's an exceptional footballer. I think he'd be brilliant in our side. They are just slightly different players. So we'll see.
Yep. Dave says linked with Ferran Torres as well from Barcelona. He'd be a good signing as well and not a massive transfer fee. Well, you'll have to stay tuned to future transfer shows to see if we bring up Ferran Torres. But a clue is he was linked today, definitely. So anyway,
he left Man City because he was homesick.
Yeah, he did. So I don't understand why he's but then again, I mean, look, there's a few players left to go back because the homesick and have come back again. So you just never know when they get a little bit older, etc. Billy Maddison, for you, I know you've been talking very highly of him. Certainly in the winter, your transfer window, he was very, very highly rumoured to be coming. He had told a couple of very high, high people, as in pundits, Ian Wright, etc. He's, is a desire to come to Newcastle. The only problem is obviously Tottenham are in for him. We know that. However, Tottenham are a shit show right now and can't even find a manager. So if Newcastle move quickly in June, I think we'll sign him. And I want. Do you think he'd be a good signing?
Yes, I do think I think it'd be a fantastic signing. And I think we've done the groundwork for this move already. We offered money last season, last summer, I should say. That's fact. We did actually offer Leicester a fee for him. Yeah, and I'm guessing without us, just doing that has meant we've spoke to him at some stage. So I think there's less groundwork to do with him. And I'm actually the amount of green on that chart we just seen there has astonished even me because I know he's a great player, but to be in the top 3% of all that top row and most of it top one.
Absolutely,
is unbelievable. He's a hell of a player. He really has got such flair, free kicks. He can, and he scores from distance. He's not afraid to have a shot. He's not one that'll get into the box often. I think them stats show that. But he'll score from outside the box and he'll create goals for the people. He's a really, really good player, and he's precocious as well. He knows he's good. You know what I mean? He knows
that's
he's a good player.
Big word for Billy Tree on a Tuesday night. Precocious. Wow. By the way, there's a lot of chat asking us about other players. Tonight's show is mainly about Maddison and Szoboszlai, guys. We do have other transfer shows and obviously news shows coming up. So we'll talk about, Bruno's contract. We'll talk about other players linked to the club as well. Tonight's just about Maddison and Szoboszlai and which one would like to see, or can we get both, etc. So we do have a lot coming up, guys. So don't worry, we won't miss any players out in future shows as well. Marco says Maddison won't need the extra touch that Longstaff seems to need, but Long is still important to us. Geordie says Paul got his girl stolen in school off a dribbly boy. Terrible. Simon says great stats, Alex. I never saw Maddison like that, but I think I'm sold. This is what we mean when when we do an in-depth dive into players, Alex. People sort of get a different view of him and think, well, 19 goal contributions in a Leicester side that was relegated is pretty damn good in 30 games.
Yeah, and when you consider the fact, I think he'd probably be better than this in our side as well. Who knows what he could produce for us? Yeah,
definitely. A lot of people, I think, trying to judge the chat on Maddison, a lot of people are saying they've seen a difference when they've looked at his stats. What in God's green earth? Are you smashing up your house again, Billy?
Yeah, I just attempted to throw an empty bottle onto the chair and missed it, even though it's only a yard away.
Yeah, it went through my ears, not the bin.
It's a Longstaff shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Call Me Swift said, I signed him on FIFA and he was on insane. That's good enough for me. But speaking of football, management games, I'd just like to say, right, that I have spent quite a bit of time on Football Manager over, the last few days, just trying to keep myself to myself, obviously. But I've downloaded skins, player faces, logos, everything.
Relegated, yeah.
No, everything is in the game. It looks fabulous, and I am currently 5th. I've only played about 5 games, but I'm 5th, right? Now, that's normally after 5 games. I am bottom, guys. I am bottom. I've even downloaded a tactic, which is absolutely helping me out. So, but I'm doing a lot of stuff that I've been suggested, by doing training and things like that, and paying more attention to off-field stuff. And but one player that I did sign is this guy right here. I managed to get Sheshko in as well, guys. Sheshko. So yeah, I've signed a couple of decent players as well. So but this guy, for me, if we've got the money to go for him and he's available, I'd say from what I've seen and what I've read, I think Newcastle United on June the 14th will make a go for him straight away. They don't want to draw it out. They don't want to have any faffing about, or in previous windows we've taken ages to get deals done. I think we've got to work quicker this time because of the standard of play we're going for. Other teams aren't going to hang around, and we shouldn't either. I think getting into the Champions League helps massively. And this guy, if we can get him, because don't forget, Trippier will be talking to him all the time. Callum Wilson will be. I'm sure Eddie Howe's asked Trippier to give him a bell if we are interested in him. So I just think come the first day of that transfer window, judging by what I've read from reports, we are going to go straight in. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I just think we've got to work quickly this time around.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive market for him. But as I said before, we've already done the groundwork for it, and he's wanted to join us for a long, long time. The situation didn't dictate it until sort of last summer. Last summer, Leicester's wage fee demands didn't dictate it. Now we're in the box seat, and both they've got relegated. They need to sell.
Yeah,
I think it'll be cheaper than the other guy, if I'm perfectly honest. Well,
it'd be cheaper than Szoboszlai. I think definitely. But Dave makes a point there about Spurs and Liverpool. I don't think James Maddison would thrive under Jurgen Klopp. I really don't. I don't. I think they'd clash more often than not. I don't think Maddison is Klopp's type of player. I just don't see that happening at all. It doesn't. I just see one day Maddison punching Klopp in the face, which I'd pay him money to do, but I just don't see. And Spurs, like I said before,
disagree with that. I think they're.
It's just my opinion, but
too dissimilar to how we play now.
I just think
quite good on the Klopp side.
Yeah, he'd probably play well on the Klopp side. I just think he wouldn't get on with Klopp if he has a bad game or something like that, giving Klopp's attitude. And I just don't see it. But it's just my opinion. But Spurs is a shit show. I can't imagine anybody wanting to go to Spurs right now without a manager. Yep. And let's be honest, guys, they're not even close to getting a manager in, because every single one of them they try and get in turns them down. I mean, Postecoglou's the latest one at Celtic. He's turned them down.
But you know what it's been like recently. Well, I say recently, transfer wise with the new owners. I think they'll have a price in mind, and if people bid over that, other clubs, I think we'll just walk away and go for other targets.
Yeah,
because I think we are going to continue to try and set this precedent of we are not going to be taken advantage of in the transfer market.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because as soon as we do it once, look at how much Chelsea have to pay to get anything. Anything done is like Cucurella, boom, 62 million. Like any player they want is just a outrageously inflated price. And I think we have to be strong and walk away from deals that maybe we want just to make it so. I know it's heartbreaking. We might want a player, but that in itself, by doing that, is going to save us 10, 20 million on all the other transfers over seasons to come. And we've got to make sure we're strong with it and just, can't get taken advantage of at all.
Yeah. Right. I've put a poll up. Which one would you have? Basically, it's Maddison Szoboszlai. Now, we're going to put Szoboszlai up now, Alex. So we'll talk through Szoboszlai.
Can I say about Maddison 1 second? What Leicester
sure.
want? What Leicester want regarding Maddison, obviously, is a bidding war. But they're not going to get one because Manchester United, I don't think, are interested in that kind of midfielder. They've got Fernandes and people like that. Arsenal, not going to get in ahead of Odegaard and people like that. Man City, I don't think it fits into their system. And after that, we're the only one that can offer Champions League. So I think we really are in a box seat regarding Maddison. They've just been relegated. They need to sell.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a buyer's market where he's concerned. Absolutely.
Yeah. Alex, have you got James Maddison's injury record to hand? Just because a lot of people are questioning that in the chat.
That's a fair comment. We can have a look at his transfer marks, yeah. Maddison. Here he is. So here we go. So this season, he missed 8 days for what you'd imagine is a little bit of a knee, probably related to his his knee strain.
Yeah.
And then he had a knee injury. Oh, I've flipped it.
Whoa.
Oh God!
Whoa.
Hang on a minute.
Whoa.
Let's go back and go forwards because I've cocked up the thing a bit. There we go. Right. So he missed
that
games.
was just making me ill. That, but never mind. Yeah.
But I think it is worth noting as well that he was actually injured for considerably longer than that because it extended through the World Cup. So this doesn't paint a true picture of it. But
it was his hip I was worried about, and when I've seen 2 hip injuries there, which have been quite extensive. But I think he's had surgery on that now, and
yeah, well, it doesn't look like that's bothered him since April, and we're now in of 22, and we're now past April of 23.
Yeah.
So that's well in the rearview mirror there. It looks like the knee is potentially sorted. He missed 6 games. He came back mid-January, and he's been involved since mid-January. It looks fine.
Fair enough.
He's not a speedster, so as long as he's mobile and fit enough to play 25 games a season, that's all we need.
Yeah. Cool. Right. Let's look at Szoboszlai then.
There he is. Right. So we have done him before, but we'll do it again. I'm sure there's possibly new viewers in, and if you are new, please make sure you subscribe.
Indeed.
So RB Leipzig, of course, the funny team that everybody loves to hate in Germany in the Bundesliga. Leipzig have been doing very, very well this season. To be fair, I know they've not quite got on the coattails of Bayern and Dortmund this year, but they're still a very, very competent side. And this guy is one of the superstars. At only 22 years old. I mean, at the start of the season, he'd only just turned 22, really. So considerably bigger than Maddison, even bigger than Sean Longstaff at 6 foot 160 pounds. He is not a slight man. He's quite a lump, but a rather powerful technical lump.
Well, that's a very technical way of describing him, Alex. I have to say, he's a powerful and technical lump.
He is. Well, I mean, look at Joe Linton. Joe Linton's improved his technical ability, and Isak's not tiny either. So wages lower than Maddison's, 80,000 euros a week. I don't know what that is in real biscuits. Probably 76,000 pounds. I don't know what the conversion rate is anymore. It's not very good. So we could up that by 20, 30, 40,000 and still be on par with our highest earners, and pop in a little cheeky signing on bonus as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's well within reach. There are reports of release clauses. I think people keep throwing around 70 million euros as a general fee. I'm not sure how realistic that is. So we've had one of the journalists who works for Sky Germany. It's not Sky Germany in the whole, but it's one of the guys who is part of Sky Germany, has said that we have, what did he say? I think he said that we've spoken to them, or we've spoken to his representation. And it has been confirmed by obviously English Sky or British Sky, whatever it is, that we've been to the last 2 Leipzig games to watch him play. So that's confirmed as well. So similarly to we know that Maddison had 2 bids. We had 2 bids rejected for Maddison last season. We've also got some sort of confirmation that it's not just rumours. We are actively looking at Well, not him specifically. They were just at Leipzig, but you would imagine it's probably him.
Yeah. 2 seconds, Alex. Just answer Spike there. Yes, I did. It came today, Spike. Thank you very much. Spike sent some more stuff to give away on the channel, so thank you very much. And I have no idea why your super chat came up in Romanian currency. I think that's just some setting on your computer, Spike. I don't want to know why it's set to Romanian. That's your business. I have no idea about that. But thank you so much again for providing some stuff to give away, mate. It's so kind of you. Sorry, Alex.
It's all right. So output-wise this season, we actually need to do contract, don't we? So 2026. So yeah, we talked about that release clause. However, it depends if we can maybe barter for a lower fee. I don't think it's likely we would do a player swap. We never seem to. I know everybody always talks about let's swap him for him. We don't seem to be one of those clubs that does that. I mean, maybe with Dan Ashworth, maybe that will start to change. But going by the previous record, I don't think it's likely. I think it's going to be a transfer fee anywhere between 40 to 60, unless we just go sod it and activate the release clause, which is also a possibility. So his appearances, 2,444 minutes in the Bundesliga, 31 appearances, with a nice, healthy return of 6 goals, 8 assists. So not quite as many as Maddison. I will give him the benefit of the doubt and say he's 4 years younger. So age is on his side in the comparison here. He's also 3 years younger than Sean Longstaff as well, if we're going to compare all of them. 5.5 XG, so he's pretty much on the money for where he should be goals and assists wise. His expected goals and his expected assists. He's not overperforming, so we know this isn't just a flash in the pan. Champions League, 1 goal from 2.2 XG, so he's been a bit unlucky in the Champions League in front of goal. 2 assists as well, so great pedigree there. Somebody with Champions League experience. Funny that. I'm pretty sure we're in that competition next season, so that's nice experience.
Are we in the Champions League? I didn't realise. That's new. That's new on me, guys. Don't know where I've been. Are we in the Champions League?
We are indeed. So let's go down and have a little look at some statistics. So he's down as an attacking midfielder / a winger. So similarly, it is going to be one of those situations where he's going to be, this is why I think there's a lot of plausibility in the whole Maddison and Szoboszlai thing, because of what we do with Willock and Joe Linton. We've got midfielders that can also play different ways. It makes so much sense that we'd buy a midfielder that can operate in that format on the right-hand side. Logically, that just makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to anybody else. So we can't look at him as a midfielder because he's just down as an attacking midfielder / winger. So statistically, passes are through the roof in comparison to James Maddison. Of course, part of that is down to Leipzig being a much better team in the Bundesliga, a much more dominant team. They've got like Lima in there and stuff. Their ball retention.
They did go off the boil for a while, didn't they? For a couple of seasons, but they've come back a bit this year.
Well, to be fair, their squad does get picked apart quite ferociously by other teams in the Bundesliga who have got more money than them, or the Premier League, one or the other. Obviously, and Nkunku is going as well, but it's fine. They just use Salzburg to replenish Leipzig. That's just how it works. So passes attempted in the top 6% in Europe. Pass completion rate is really, really healthy at 80%, which isn't that much different to Maddison's, to be fair. It's just because we're viewing him as an offensive midfielder and not just a standard midfielder. Progressive passes are around the same as what Maddison was giving us, so similar there. Take on success rate is pretty much the same as Maddison's. They're profiling very similar here. However, he does give us a lot more defensively. Higher tackle rate, gets involved more in blocks and clearances and interceptions, potentially gives you a bit more of an indication of it, maybe a bit more intelligent defensively, positioning where to be, when to be there, which is great. We want to, we like an intelligent player. Shot creating actions as well is through the roof. I'm pretty sure that's the same as Maddison's, isn't it? I'm not accidentally on Maddison's profile, am I? I'm not. So Maddison is 5.0. No, Szoboszlai and Maddison is. Yeah, they're pretty much the same there in terms of shot creating actions. So, for all the people in the chat saying this instead of this, they profile very similarly. And
can I just say, some people are saying I vote both, and I should have had both on the poll. The reason I haven't is because I want you to say, if it was between these two players, which one would you prefer to have? That's why I haven't put both on the poll. because I think it's a cop-out. If we have to go for one or the other, who would you have based on what you've seen tonight? So that's why I haven't put both in the poll, guys.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth waiting until we do both reviews before you vote. Although I know probably tons of you have already voted, but never mind.
Well, there's a few hundred.
So, shot total. I would like to see more shots from him. I think he's good enough. Although 2 shots per 90 is still fine, really, from your right-sided 8. You know, if we're getting a couple from Wilson, a couple from wingers, a couple from here, a couple from there, that's fine. That's all you need in a game. It's still in the 47th percentile, so it's not bad. It's just in the middle.
Sorry, Alex. I'm sorry to interrupt you again in full flow, but I've always wanted to ask Chi this question. Chi, when you were at school, was your nickname Ty? I just... come on, Typhoon. That would be a fantastic nickname, wouldn't it? I'm not sure Chi might understand what nickname means, but I've probably just offended him.
The last letter of his surname to an L. It sounds like something that Bear Brackers are called in the 80s. Read it out. Change that N to an L and read it out.
I mean, they mentioned there about formations and if we got both.
Yes, let's get back to the football and ignore what Billy's just said there. I'm sorry, Chi, if I've insulted you.
But that definitely raises the question. You know, we could fit into more shapes. I would imagine if we've got these kinds of players, you know, 4-2-3-1s and things like that suddenly become a lot more achievable. You know, Eddie Howe always talks about the balance of the side. If we've got players like Szoboszlai or Maddison who are at its technical level are higher, and Szoboszlai is an absolute lump as well, like we've discussed, I think he can play slightly different shapes and not upset the balance of the team. So we'll see. And obviously these kind of lads can play in sort of the 10 role. So let's have a little look at more stuff. So who's he profile like? Julian Brandt, of course, is amazing for Dortmund. Bruno Fernandes, we know, is very competent for Manchester United. I know we don't like him, but still. Valverde for Real Madrid, of course, is a freak of nature. He's an incredible player. Lorenzo Pellegrini, we've done before on a transfer show, also linked with Roma. Now I want to bring your attention to a nice little graphic we get from FBref at the moment, which is his last 5 matches. I like this little graphic. I was reading this yesterday. Very, very cool. So 4 wins and a loss. They did lose away to Leverkusen. Paul will probably be happy about that. You can see what position he's played in. So attacking midfield, left mid, centre mid. So a nice variety there of positions. See how often he's played. So we scored a couple of goals in this run of 5 games, which is nice. 1 from a penalty. Nice that we've got another penalty taker potentially arriving as well, even though Wilson and Isak are monsters at penalties. We can have a look at his shots as well in the last 5 matches. 3, 2, 2, 3, 4. So you can actually see he's been shooting a lot more recently than what his overall profile was saying, because I think it was around 2 shots per 90, whereas this would suggest it's a bit higher. So, you know, there is a potential for him to be improving as the season goes on. And you can see touches depends on who he's playing, how many minutes he's played. Against Werder Bremen and Leverkusen, up in the 80s, and then obviously only 45 against Bayern Munich, but they did beat Bayern Munich 3-1, and he was integral in this with that penalty kick. So we scroll over. Oh, we get a nice little... No, we don't want to watch Nashville against Columbus Crew. Sorry, Americans. Let's close that down. So you can see his passes as well. Pass completion rate is okay here. A lot lower against Bayern as to be expected. But, you know, you can see how he's doing against these kinds of teams. 5 progressive passes against Bayern is nice. 7 against Freiburg. So you can see the spread. Ball carries as well and progressive carries. You can see what he's about. So if people like looking at FBref, I'd highly recommend having a look at this last 5 matches. It does give you a bit more oomph. And then his career profile, why not? Let's have a look at this, because I know a lot of people have watched Maddison, but not as many people know about this guy. So came from Salzburg, as did pretty much everybody that goes through the Red Bull. 3 Austrian Bundesligas before going to Germany, and he played not that many times, to be fair, for Salzburg, but conversion rate from 18 starts, 10 assists, 9 goals is pretty freakish, to be fair. Although there were only 6 non-penalty goals, 3 penalties. So he's been taking penalties since he's been 18 years old. So you can tell he's kind of that natural leader. There's a reason he's the captain of his country at such a young age. And then, so his time in the Bundesliga, 20 and 21 years old, 2 Champions League place finishes in 4th and 3rd. Not as many appearances in the first season, but managed to get up to 28 this year. Has matched his output he argued could have done better, should have done better. It is what it is. It's still a healthy return, nonetheless. And then I think it's probably best. Let's go back onto our transfer marked. I've got to spell his name now. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, I can spell it without having to look now. I'm impressed.
So this is the important thing. Obviously, Maddison has been involved in the England setup on and off. He obviously had that extended break, but Big Dom is.
Look at Big Dom. Look at him though. I mean, go on, Bennett. I mean, I'm not a gay man, but he is a handsome bastard, isn't he?
Chiseled,
I mean, let's
be
honest.
Chiseled.
Yeah, he's very Fabian Cher looking. Very chiseled.
Fabian Cher's long lost Hungarian cousin.
Well, I think it is. Yes.
Where was he born, Alex? What's the name of his town? Can't quite see.
I think Paul knows that one.
Shekez.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So 30 caps and 7 goals for your country is no joke. Considering he's still 22 years old, may I add, 30 caps at 22 is absurd.
I mean, he's even got the chiseled chin. He's even got the Kirk Douglas chin. I mean, that is that not just a painting of him or something? It looks too good to be true.
Down. Oh, let's get rid of that. So, somebody kindly pointed this out on Twitter and in the chat earlier on in the show. Transfermarkt are so confident of this that they've actually put percentage odds on the website, and they've put it at 70%, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But the one thing I wanted to highlight is his international appearances, all the way from the under-16s up to the senior team, of which he is now captain at 22 years old, beaten England 4-1, been part of that team, 30 appearances. The kid's got pedigree at the elite level, and he is going to be
he's a monster. He's a monster is what he is.
And there you go. You can see he's versatile. He's useful. We might as well, actually, I haven't looked at his...
Can I just say there's no way we get somebody like him for £40 million. Not a Scooby-Doo's chance in hell.
No. Well, I mean, you can see by his agency list that he is the biggest.
Sorry. Look at halfway there. I thought his name was Pika Porkhorny.
Where's he from? Is that Slovakia? It is, yeah.
I haven't had much sleep, guys.
Hey, he probably plays with Dubravka. You got to be careful.
Or Makenlacker or someone like that. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. No,
he's German.
Well, yeah, but he could play for Mainz, couldn't he?
He is the big boy on the books for his agent, so they probably are going to try and hold out for some big for all the dollaroonies, I would imagine. So we'll have to wait and see. But if I've got to do it now. I guess us as hosts have got to pick one, haven't we? If we have got to pick between Maddison and Szoboszlai.
Well, yes. Just before we do that, guys, Chi has got back to us about his nickname, which just says to me he has a very good sense of humour. He says, Foon is my surname, but people always call me names as Cheeky Foon or Cheesy Spoon. Typhoon is a first. Well, as some people pointed out in the chat, you could have had Tai Chi as well. So I'm amazed you haven't been called Typhoon. That's staggered. Andy says, over 1,000 watching, but only 263 likes. Guys, come on. Please go and hit that thumbs up. We've got 1,200 watching now, so please hit the thumbs up. It really does help the channel. So just take a second out right now just to click the thumbs up button. In fact, I'll give you a countdown, guys. And when I hit the countdown, hit that thumbs up button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bosh. Hit that button, guys. Thank you very much. Brian says Szoboszlai looked excellent on the clips I have seen. Plus, he is younger than Maddison, but I would take both given the opportunity. Billy, out of the two, if you had to go for one of them, I mean, listen, we all hope we'll get them both, but if we had to go for one of them.
Short term, I'd say Maddison. Long term, I'd say Szoboszlai. If that's not sitting in the fence, I don't know what is.
That's a cop-out. Bullshit. One of them, Billy.
It's got to be Szoboszlai. Out of the two. Offers more.
Interested. Alex?
It's a real tough one, but I'm going to go with Szoboszlai as well. I think age is a big factor in it. The fact he's 4 years younger. And I think we're trying to build a team of winners. And as much as I love Maddison, and I know it's not his fault, he just got relegated.
Yeah.
Szoboszlai captains his country. You know, we're trying to build a squad of winners, and I think the mentality would just be enormous. And I think there's not too much difference in them in terms of quality and technical level. Slightly different players. But I'm just going to go with Szoboszlai. I think the fact he's captain of his country and is 4 years younger, I think sells it for me.
Yeah, well, you know what it is? The fact that he's only 22 is what sells it for me as well. I mean, people know I love James Maddison. I think he's fantastic, and I'd love to see him in a black and white shirt. So I really hope we get both. But if it has to be one, you can't go against Szoboszlai. You just can't.
I think it's worth adding. They're not going to be the same price. I would highly expect Szoboszlai to be 20 to 30 million pounds more, which you've got to factor in. It's not one or the other for the same price. We're going to have to pay a premium for the other one, which then would hamper, us going and getting other signings, improving a Fabian Schär understudy / overstudy, or an extra left back, or this or that. So you've got to factor that into your decision as well. I mean, if we just want to do a fun this player or that player, fair enough. But if we're thinking about the actual club, there is going to be a price difference as well to factor in.
There's language difficulties. There's settling into a new country, a new league.
Yeah.
With Maddison,
we don't have any Hungarian players.
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed.
Who speaks Hungarian? Certainly not me.
I do. Ian says, Peter Porkhorny, Hungary Spider-Man. Dear me. Botman is a pretty boy too. Julie says he is, and so is Callum Wilson. Fair enough. Rachel's all the ladies coming forward now, aren't there? We've got a few good-looking lads in the squad, says Rach. Richard says, I'm a newbie, so I had to figure out what a thumbs up was. I got there, though. Thank you very much, Richard. Billy getting splinters from sitting on the fence. Indeed. Paul counts too fast. Give over. Loads of girls drooling over the Callum Wilson JD ads. They weren't all Toon fans either. Tom's going for Szoboszlai. Right, I'll tell you what, before we Randall says the chat is turning into a Danielle Steele novel. It very often does when we have the ladies in we have tonight. The likes of Mary and Julie J and Rach. It tends to go like that. If you're new to the channel, you'll pick that up over the next few shows, that sometimes words get said on this program that people start to, deviate down a different path to what we're talking about. And Billy sometimes joins them. In fact, a lot of the time, Billy joins
I'm about to now. I don't think Maddison's a munter. He's good looking at himself. Coventry Gene and all that.
Welcome to Tinder Toon Review. We hope you're enjoying the show. Right. Before we actually do the poll result, someone just has to say hi. So there you go, Daisy the cow. And those of you that are new to the channel, she is our channel mascot, by the way, just in case you're thinking, well, we're a football channel. What the hell are we doing? Just playing a video of a cow riding a mountain bike. She is the mascot, and she is legendary in this vicinity of the Toon Review. Also, there you go. What does the cow have to do with the channel? The cow is the mascot. Hanani. So, various things have mascots. Football clubs have mascots. We have Daisy the cow. It came from a tragic love story between Billy and Daisy. Billy just had to let her go, unfortunately for Billy. Good times were had, though. Peter Joy, thank you for your $4.99 super chat. He says, I'd be interested to hear their running stats. Do they cover as much ground as Sean?
I guarantee you now, James Maddison doesn't.
No.
Guarantee you.
No. Right now, I'm not going to mention any of them, but I'm playing this tonight. I play this every now and again, and I feel tonight is 100% worth playing this. So here we go.
Here is Richard, in his own little world. Richard as a troll. He thinks it's cool to annoy everyone, as this makes him feel important.
So there you go, just a little message from the Toon Review. Right, let's have a look at the poll to see who has won. Guys, are we taking a little bet before I give you the results? Who do the viewers want?
I think they're going to go with Szoboszlai, to be fair.
Yeah, I do too.
Szoboszlai, okay. Let's have a look. Right, the result of the poll is, wow. I mean, which one would you have? 70% would have Szoboszlai and 30% for James Maddison. I find that astounding. That is a massive gap. I mean, I kind of judged it on, the comments that were coming in on my earlier video today, but I didn't think it would finish at that. That is massive. But hey ho. But we'll see what happens in the current weeks to come in the transfer window. Will we make a move very early? Who knows? That's up to Newcastle United. Stu, your jokes are getting absolutely terrible, mate. I don't know what's going on with you, but you need some new material, mate, because it's just not good. It's not good, Stu. But thank you anyway for keeping the chat entertained. But that is it for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Very interested to get your feedback. Now, don't forget, we are going to have a lot more coming up on the channel with regards to transfer shows. Pretty much, I mean, look, there'll be every day, every other day, or whatever. It depends what news comes in about transfers, of course. The daily news will continue as well. We are on Thursday night going to have an end of season review slash 20,000 subscribers celebration. So we're going to look back on Newcastle United's year. We're going to look back on the season on the channel. We're going to be talking about player ratings for the season. So there's going to be a big show on Thursday night. So we want you to take part. We're going to have some daft awards as well. So there's a lot to look forward to on Thursday night show for the end of season 20K. Spectacular, if you like. So it's an incredible achievement, guys, and it's the first show I've been on since we've hit the 20K. I must admit, given the weekend I've had, I got quite emotional when we hit it. But obviously, I'll do me thanks in that to everybody on the show on Thursday. But just to you guys for the watch along the other night, you were absolutely brilliant. I know, Billy, you had problems getting a stream in the first half. Alex, you were brilliant. So I'd just like to thank you guys for your support over this weekend. I couldn't do it without you guys. And Jack, you're an absolute. You're not just friends, you're brothers to me. And your support over the weekend has been incredible, as it has, with the mods as well. All the support from them, and all the really nice messages from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers. It really puts to bed all the trolling that I get when I realize what a massive support everybody is on this channel. So I'd just like to say thank you for that. I'm not going to give the idiots any airtime, so I'd just like to say thank you for all the support with what we've gone through over the weekend. It's been one of the hardest weekends I've had in a very, very long time. I have to say that. It's Elsie was with me through some very, very rough times, and she wasn't just a dog. I know everybody says that, but they are part of the family. Susan was then rushed into hospital on Saturday night. So we, we didn't get back from hospital till 4 or 5 in the morning on Sunday. So we've had a pretty horrific weekend. But you guys keep me going. You really do. But, you know, my colleagues on here with me now, I mean, Billy and Alex have been with me a long time, and truly, truly brothers. I have to say that. You're just incredible people. And it's a privilege to call you best friends. It really is. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. After what I've been through, you know, who your true friends are really come through at times like this, and everybody out there as well. You have been absolutely incredible. But anyway, we'll look forward to the show on Thursday night. I'm really looking forward, actually, because we're going to have some really daft awards. Susan's been at it again with doing some animations, which there's one of Jack and Billy, which is just brilliant. Exactly. Alex, just beware that there's one coming for you, because Susan has taken notice of how your beard is developing, shall we say. So there's going to be a lot of stuff to look forward to.
Shave it off for the next day then.
Well, listen, we all need cheering up in a way. Season's over. We've got no football left. Why not have a brilliant show on Thursday and a really good laugh? Because I think I certainly need that, and I know you guys will help me with that. But thank you for watching tonight, guys. Thank you for the new memberships, and thank you to super chatters, etc. Did I miss a super chat earlier on? Yes, I did. Sorry, Geordie Metal, £20. I do apologise. He says Szoboszlai for me, just because he is better at pressing and defensive work. Geordie Metal, thank you for your fantastic support as well throughout the season. But listen, guys, it is the end of the show. Thank you to the mods as well. Thank you to Billy and Alex. Thank you to you guys for watching. 1,200 at one point, which is unbelievable on a Tuesday night. You just blow me away with your support that you give us. You really do. And listen, we really do love you out there. Our appreciation, I can't put into words. All right, but thank you so much. And we will see you possibly tomorrow night, but definitely Thursday night. Just keep an eye on the channel for any recorded videos or any lives that we put up. And we'll see you very soon. In the meantime, good night.
How were the lads and lasses?
Come back and check on some breathing.